Hi everyone, back with another Colouring Heaven edition. This is Creatures of the Night and it's issue 70. It contains 40 exclusive dark designs by Sarah Richter. So as usual, you can see what we're working with here in this book. Shaded, fantastical, slightly gothic designs. Let's have a look on the back. We've got the moon with some bats hanging from it. It's actually a really fun image. So let's see what we can find out about Sarah. Sarah Richter is a German artist who currently lives in Cottbus. She grew up in a small village and spent most of her time drawing. In 2017, she started to be a full-time illustrator. She works digitally with a tablet or traditionally with pen and paper. She's always been fascinated by the beauty of the night, dark creatures, castles, and the evanescence of being, and many of her artworks have a connection to that. Find out more about her on Facebook, Instagram and Etsy. So, very interesting, quite dark as it says, fantasy and castles and bats and creatures and things like that. So this one has a particularly sketched look to it, and I'm guessing that as we go through, some might look a little bit more refined and clean and digital, but I think that will be a mix kind of within the book. So we've got what looks like, it kind of looks like a necklace actually. It's got a pendant sort of hook here, and then we've got the moon with some crystals dangling from it, and of course the lady with her wings sat inside. That one was called Aerial Angel. This one's called Aerial Demon, so similar kind of thing. You can see all the ribbons that are coming down from the ceiling, that sort of aerial Cirque du Soleil type thing, and this is the demon counterpart. Then we've got Bat's Moon. So this is the one that was on the back cover that I just quickly showed you. And yeah, so we've got the moon, we've got loads of bats, and I love particularly the ones that are hanging down from the moon. And also I think my favourite thing about this is the pearls and the flowers that are just sort of draped onto the moon. It's really, really nice. This one's called Batsy, and it's got a fleur-de-lis thing on it, and it looks kind of like a door knocker. So you'd come to this really creepy castle and it'd be doof, doof, doof with the door knocker, you know how it goes. So this one's Bedtime, and we've got the cute little bat with his gigantic teddy. Then we've got Children of the Night, so a really nice scene that fills the entire page. It's got some gorgeous architecture, kind of church-like, and she's looking out onto the night sky with the bats there. And we've got a little cat keeping her company. This is called Corvus, and I think it's a raven or a crow. I never know the difference. And as you can see, we've actually got a skeleton here, or at least a rib cage, and the arms with the pelvis on which the bird is sat. And you can see there is some ivy kind of creeping up around the bones, some roses growing on there as well, and the pentacle necklace. Another really beautiful image actually. So Dark Ages, we've got a lady in portrait here. You can see that she's wearing some animal bone headdress, face kind of warrior armour maybe. She's got it on her shoulders as well. Yeah, I would imagine her being kind of like a warrior witch or something. Dragon's Cross, so another skeletal sort of image. We've got the spine here, and then coming out from it are a couple of skulls. We've got a three-headed skull on the top, again draped in jewellery, and there's a dragon around this. We've got more skulls at the bottom. Yeah, it's a very interesting image. So then we've got Fairest of All, which is harking back to the Disney classic. She's looking in the mirror, asking who is the fairest, and you can see from the cracks in the mirror here that it's showing the cracks in her facade through to the evil underneath. Full Moon is another bat and moon incorporation with some pentacles and some more pearls. Then we've got Good Night, so we're in the coffin now. We've got the vampiress and her little kitty that's sleeping in there with her, and actually a really beautiful coffin. Gothic Unicorn, so this one is a little bit of a darker take on the usually pink and fluffy and happy unicorn. And here we've moved into a completely grayscale image, A Glance of Evanescence this is called. Particularly like the way that the butterfly has landed in the skull socket there, and it also has what looks like an eye on its wing. Really nice composition and idea there. Always is a take on a painting that I have seen so many times, and I know Jasmine Beckett Griffith did something similar in one of her books, but I'm not entirely sure where it originates from, but I have seen it depicted quite a few times. Then we have Crematoria, which looks like a fantastical animal, but I'm not entirely sure what. It has kind of it looks a little bit like the Balrog with its head from Lord of the Rings, but You know, maybe it even is, I don't know. We've got Davy Jones's locker, so another really fun one. Particularly like about this is the mermaid's tail. You can see it makes a skull face, and in the background we have all the ships that are going down, and underneath, of course, is Davy Jones himself. Dreamcatcher, it's really quite photographic, this one. It could almost be a picture, and you can see that the lady has these branches as her headdress, and it's all very elaborate. This is called Fawn, and obviously we're in the woods because that's where fawns live, and he's playing his flute or trumpet, and yeah, it's stunning actually. Moon Queen, so we've got the skull, a couple of moons here, but I particularly like the crystals that are on this one. I'm not a big fan of grayscale, to be honest with you, but you can appreciate the beauty of these without having to know how to colour them, so to speak. Sinister Wings. So again, it's that crow or that raven or that rook or whatever it is that's spreading its wings, and you've got the phases of the moon around here. The Eternal Fight, I would say, is probably my favourite image from this book. You can see that we have the kind of mausoleum in the background, and we have the statue of the weeping angel who is holding the fallen woman, and the skeletal hands are reaching up from above. It's a really beautiful image. The Hunter, another quite photographic image. Again, we have the bones and carcass used as headdress. Back to line art now, and the sketchy style is Halloween. So jack-o'-lantern, the hat, the cat sitting underneath, and the mouse in the mouth of the pumpkin. It's fun, and it's very different to the images we were just looking at. Howling Wolf, lots more bones, flowers. And Johnny Thunderstorm, which it sounds like a B-rate superhero, doesn't it? Then we've got Keeper of the Fire with lots of candlelight. Interesting to see how people will tackle the glow on that one. Lilith with her bat friend. Then we've got Magic Rat, who, yeah, he does look quite magic actually. He's got lots of spines growing from him, which is quite odd. Looks like an experiment gone wrong. Then we've got Medusa. So from the back, it's an interesting angle to take it from, but we've got all the snakes coming from her hair here, and she's in the cave. Moonlight Companions. So this one is simply a cat with horns actually, sat upon a branch at night time. And again, what I really like about this is the bat's just hanging from his curled tail. Mother of Dragons. So I don't know whether this is meant to be a take on Daenerys from Game of Thrones, but as you can see, we've got the kind of a really elaborate horns again, and the dragon just sleeping on there. Very sweet. Knight's Embrace. This is set in a graveyard. Bats again on top of her wings, and we do have all of the gravestones down here covered in ivy. Nocturnals is another sketchy one. The line work is really, really light. Then we've got Reaper's cat. So the Reaper doesn't actually have a face, which I find super creepy. He's got his giant scythe here. Again, we've got skeleton bones coming across. And yeah, it's kind of the theme, I guess, going through her work, is that there's a lot of bones mixed with florals and things. Rest in Peace is fantastic. So we have the owl landing with some flowers on top of the headstone. Then Scarab is a simpler piece. So it's centered on the page, and there's not a lot of, well, there's not any background detail, but there's not a lot of detail on this. It would be quite a fast one to colour, I think. Sphinx, again, quite light in line work and a really fun and original piece of art. So you can see that the Sphinx cat is wearing this ruff, but his body, interestingly, is made up of a bird cage, and the bird has been set free and doesn't look too well, actually. It looks a little bit under the weather, to say the least. This is called The Bride. Fantastic illustration. You can see that the veil, again, is showing the evil that's underneath, and beneath the veil as well is some dead roses. So it would be really nice to see the contrast of life and death on this one. Finally, we have the glowing pumpkin. So again, we've got a jack-o'-lantern, but this time a couple of baby dragons are breathing fire to light it up. So let me know what you thought of this edition. I really like hearing all of your opinions on the different colouring heavens, because they're all very unique. And yeah, I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment below. Don't forget to click the thumbs up, and of course subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.